Weekend. Get weekly football winners from Alex White, Chris Andrews, and Vinny Malulo.
I did take the dog 3.5.
I'm going to stay with the culture. That's definitely going to be one of my plays.
If the Bears have turned the corner, they have to take care of business in this game.
Yes.
Tune in for behind-the-book perspectives you won't find anywhere else.
Well, if you're looking to bet the under, you're going to get a better number.
The wise guys are certainly not going to play the favorites.
I know if it hits 7, don't blink. Maybe that's what bettors are waiting for.
Every NFL matchup, every college game that matters, the spreads, the stats, and the smart money plays.
It's your way to bet against both teams.
Get your winning edge with Football Frenzy, streaming on YouTube every Friday at noon Pacific.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world.
Heading to Las Vegas to catch the action at Allegiant Stadium? Skip the traffic and the sky-high room rates of the Strip. Book your stay at the South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa. The South Point is located just 7 miles away from the stadium, and it's a quick trip up the freeway, making it an affordable rideshare or taxi ride. And don't worry about getting here when you land in Vegas. We offer a convenient airport shuttle to get your getaway off to a stress-free start. Shuttles are also available on Raider game days for a small fee. So whether you're rooting for your team or seeing your favorite band in concert at Allegiant Stadium, South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa is your ticket to all the excitement.
We are live from South Point Studios inside the South Point Hotel. It's Sports by the Book. Ron Burgundy is out sick today. I'm Veronica Corningstone. Excuse me. Alex White is out sick today. I'm Matt Neverett. Alex, if you're watching, we hope that you feel better soon. She will be back in this seat very, very soon. Matt Neverett filling in along with Ryan McCormick here as always on Sports by the Book. Ryan, appreciate you staying with me here. At least we got a little two-man weave going on today. Can't have the full three-man assortment that we're used to, but hey, a two-man weave's not too bad here on a Tuesday, right?
Yeah, not too shabby. Hopefully we can get some winners today.
Yeah, we'll see what we got. It was an interesting day yesterday. We've got 3 bowl games today in the college ranks. We've got a full slate of NFL action to get you set for, and 5 pretty interesting NHL games. There's some weird angles and some interesting trends going on in today's action on the hardwood. NBA in full swing as well. Yesterday, taking a look at what happened in the world of sports. It was a good day for the NBA for favorites, 7-3 straight up. That last game between Dallas and Portland was a crazy one. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that one at the end, Ryan. Klay Thompson had the shot to try and win the game for the Mavs. Is there 4 maybe players in the history of the NBA that you would rather have taking an open corner 3 to potentially win the game, regardless of where they are in their career, than Klay Thompson?
I know exactly who I'd want. Face of the universe on the line. Give me Iguodala.
Andre Iguodala. I love that.
Max Kellerman.
Max Kellerman. My God, stick to boxing. I like Max as a boxing announcer. That's the thing. Interesting one. We won't even talk about the Birmingham Bowl because my alma mater, App State, took the game at 5-7 against their heated rivals, Georgia Southern. And I don't think, Ryan, that most people understand how big that rivalry is. Not only is it called Deeper Than Hate, I mean, that's a pretty intense rivalry name. The Georgia Southern Eagles, credit to them, they had that on the back of their helmets. Like you see in the NFL, guys have choose love or their sayings or the team names. Deeper Than Hate. on the back of the helmet. I think that illustrates the rivalry between these two. And App State, without a quarterback, pretty much the whole game struggled, and it was a dominant win for Georgia Southern, the second time that they've beaten my App State Mountaineers this season. But in the NHL, it was also a really good day for the favorites. 6-2 in the early part of the slate. 5 puck lines in those 8 games as well. The puck lines have been a good trend so far recently for you, Ryan.
Yeah, we've been able to find some good reverse ones as well. Those ones pay a little bit better than standard. Obvious minus $1.50 for the favorite, but we've got 5 games, and I think we've got 1 or 2 that we've spotted out tonight.
And then how about the Monday Nighter last night between the Rams and the Falcons? What did you learn from that game watching it?
To heading into halftime, I was really wondering if the Seahawks broke the Rams. If we just really aren't going to see much of Matthew Stafford playing at MVP level anymore. And then the Falcons kind of allowed them back into things. There were some defensive things to happen, and a special team, a field goal blocked by Jared Verse in return for a touchdown. The peace sign to the Falcons bench to kind of get things fired back up for everybody involved in that game. But Bijan Robinson with almost 230 scrimmage yards ends up setting the Falcons record for scrimmage yards in a season, and only needs 255 scrimmage yards in Week 18 against the Saints, which would ultimately help out the Panthers, in order to break the all-time scrimmage yard record in the NFL, Chris Johnson at 2309. So Bijan needs 255 to break that.
Oh, Chris Johnson. I didn't think we'd have a Chris Johnson pull today. He might have been my favorite player to watch for a couple of years, regardless of position, regardless of team. So for Bijan Robinson to be anywhere in the same conversation as number 2-8, that's pretty good consideration. I think Bijan Robinson is kind of going against the trend that we've seen in the NFL recently, especially when it comes to the draft. And as far as how running backs are, favored or lack thereof, about how the running backs have been degraded over the last couple of years in draft talks and in contract talks. I think we've seen guys like Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson especially kind of buck that trend as not only runners, not only pass catchers, but guys that are durable and last a lot longer than a lot of the running backs that we've seen over these last couple of seasons. And Bijan Robinson has been outstanding in terms of allowing the Falcons to maintain some sense of continuity with the quarterback injuries this year. And yeah, for Matt Stafford, we talked before we took the air, Ryan, about the current MVP odds, and it looks like Drake May is an over 1-3 favorite to win the MVP now, is going to win that award. Matt Stafford, if it wasn't decided last night, he messed it up last night with those interceptions.
Yeah, not only him last night with his turnovers, but also Drake May being able to pile it on Sunday against the Jets really kind of gave you the two sides of the coin, and allowing Drake May to really jump up and be the extreme odds-on favorite here.
Just looking at the comments again. Follow us at Sports by the Book. We're closing in on 2,000 followers, by the way. You get to pick a bill out of Ryan McCormick's wallet if you're the 2,000th follower. That is a well-established giveaway. So, Ryan, you better come ready to go as soon as we get to 2K.
I'll make sure I have nothing but one.
Yeah, at least a $2 bill. Come on, man.
Yeah. Sean's got those on deck.
Yeah, exactly. Give him some luck. That's what Sean's there for, right? But looking at the comments, Dean Hilt and Attila checking in. Attila hoping that Alex feels better soon. Whiteboard went 3 for 4 yesterday. He says thank you to Alex and Kenny White. Dean Hilt, happy Tuesday all. Had a little pizza money on the money line for Atlanta last night. Well, hope you enjoy your pizza. I had some Naked City pizza yesterday. That's my absolute favorite pizza in Las Vegas. And Attila says Stafford under touchdowns and yards passing squeaked by. Yeah, just a weird game last night. I got a chance to catch up with it a little bit afterwards. I got done calling that UNLV game. But Week 18 action coming up. It's the 4th year of this Week 18. And we'll dive right into it before we get to the rest of today's action. I've got a college basketball play. I've got a college football bowl play that we'll get to later in the show. Again, subscribe here at Sports by the Book. But let's get right into it, Ryan. You want to talk some NFL? Because the Week 18, I like it. I don't know about you. I wanted to ask your thoughts on the added week. Of course, if they could add another 2 weeks, I know that Goodell and company would love to have that. But I'm generally a fan of these Week 18 matchups, not only because it gives you an extra game, which is obviously the best part of it, but also you get some weird matchups. And I love anarchy. I'm a Patriots guy, so they are where they are. They've got their path laid out ahead of them this weekend with the Broncos for the number 1 seed in the AFC potentially. But I love these quarterback battles and these tanking teams or teams resting, and maybe the viewership not as good as it should be or would be in a regular matchup. But yeah, you want to get ready for some of these names, by the way, that we're going to throw out at quarterback this week. This is a real who's who of backups, third strings, even fourth strings around the NFL. How about it?
I mean, my favorite thing about Week 18, sure, we get an extra NFL game. I don't like that we gave up a preseason week in order to get to the regular season, but I digress from my point. I love the fact that every single game is a division matchup.
Yeah.
I really think that instead of staggering the schedule the way that we kind of do and get some weeks with one division matchup, some weeks with no division matchup, some weeks with 16 division matchups, I really do think that the schedule should break out to where it kind of works out, where we have an entire weekend of divisional rivalry matchups, just to get the teams fighting against each other in true meaningful football, regardless of standings.
And it's almost standardized in a way when you have all division matchups. And we've seen it in Major League Baseball, especially over the last couple of years, where not only have they kind of standardized the matchups, just about all divisional matchups in the final day of the season, but all the games starting at the same time. I don't know if you could get away with that in the NFL with the way that the TV contracts are set up. But, I mean, we're getting there. I like how they do it, where they basically wait until a week or two before to start setting these game times. We'll see the Ravens and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football because of that. That's one of the games that we'll take a super deep dive into. But I like it. I like the matchups, and I like the playoff implications as well as the battle of the third stringers and the fourth stringers at quarterback. Luckily, though, with this week's schedule and the way that it breaks down, the 2 Saturday games are 2 of the 3 best games of the week, in my opinion, and they both have huge, and I mean massive, playoff implications. So we'll start right away, betting rotation, 345, 346. We've got NFC South playoff football, more or less, between the Panthers and the Buccaneers. You got 2 teams going 2 different directions. The Buccaneers reeling over the past, 2.5 months. So where does that leave us for this game? The Buccaneers, slight favorite at 3 points. The books thinking that at home they're able to get things right. Baker Mayfield, who has been abysmal over the last handful of weeks, trying to get something figured out for the Buccaneers. It's win or go home, and the Panthers with a win could seal the NFC South. I mean, this game probably between this one and Seattle, San Francisco, which is the next one that we'll get to. I mean, these are the 2 games with the single biggest playoff implications this week.
Yeah, it looks like it's been a take of the 3 from where it opened. It's now 2.5 pretty much everywhere in the market. And we have learned from our guy, Chris Andrews and Billy Maliulo, the director of the Racing Sportsbook here at the South Point and the vice president of Gone Gaming, that when you have the number move off of 3, whether it's to 3.5 or to 2.5, it's either a take, not trusting the favorite at the 3. So now that it's moved to 2.5, people aren't trusting the Buccaneers, thinking that the Panthers will be able to get it on the road. Had it moved the other way to the 3.5, it would be trusting the Bucs being able to get it done as the favorite. But we've moved off of that, and now action seems to be on the Panthers.
We'll give our trends, what we've dug up about this game and our plays a little bit later. Just as a hint, this is the week of the under for me. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored in a lot of matchups. There are a couple of games where there are projected to be a ton of points. I'm looking at you, Dallas and New York, but we'll get to them eventually. The next one that I had mentioned, playoff implications abound for the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. This one opened at 1 with a total just under 50. 49ers winners of 6 straight, thanks in no small part to Brock Purdy and his efforts.
Yeah, winner of this game gets the number 1 seed in the NFC. The playoffs will go through either Seattle or San Francisco on the NFC side. And the loser most likely will be the 5 seed, depending on some other stuff that happens as well, involving the Rams and their game against Arizona. And I believe Green Bay, even though Green Bay can't move off of the 7 seed in the NFC. But yeah, we opened with Seattle as a 1-point favorite, and we are still there at a 1-point favorite.
And that's a perfect transition there, Ryan, to our next game, another divisional matchup, this time in the NFC North. It's the opening game on Sunday. It's the Packers and the Vikings, and I think that's the perfect way to start it. You mentioned the Packers have nothing to play for. They're locked into the 6th seed. Not only is the starter Jordan Love coming out of concussion protocol and not expected to play, but Malik Willis, the backup, had a shoulder injury flare up on him in their game last week. So we're looking at a 3rd-string quarterback. This is the game, like I had mentioned, where you're going to start to see some of these quarterbacks that you haven't heard of since they were in college. Who remembers the former Houston Cougar Clayton Tune? That's who's more than likely going to suit up for the Packers this weekend behind center. He was great in college, not so much in the NFL. 27 career attempts, already 3 interceptions. That is not what you want. And Max Brosmer, Clayton Tune. Now that's the matchup that people want to see to start their Sunday, right?
Yeah, no, not me. But it's a open 6 here at the South Point. Open 6 pretty much everywhere else in the market, but it does look like there have been moves to 6.5. So people laying it with the Vikings here, trusting that they'll be able to fight a little bit better. It is the lowest total on the board in the NFL this weekend at 36.5. But if the Packers end up pulling off the upset here and getting it done, it'd be the first time winning the season series, sweeping the season series against the Vikings since 2019.
Wow. And that's notable because the Packers have been the better team since then overall, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting there. And I think I said 6 seed. They're locked into the 7 seed, correct?
Yes.
So, yeah, they can't move up. They can't move down. They're going to be sitting players. So if they win, I think it's going to be in a miracle, and we're going to see like another 16-13 Mac Brosmer special with this Minnesota Vikings defense actually playing pretty well here towards the end of the season, kind of a year that they'd like to forget in 2025. Well, I mean, the other one, too, this matchup between the Colts and the Texans, really interesting as far as the AFC South is concerned. The Texans riding that 8-game win streak. They've allowed just 18 points per game over that stretch.
Yeah, not just an 8-game win streak, but winners of 9 of the last 10 and 9 of 11 since their bye week. And really starting the year 0-3. It's why we have a conversation for D'Amico Ryans as coach of the year, though he's not one of the favorites. But yeah, you talk about two teams headed in opposite directions in a previous matchup. This team, or this one, is also that way. Likely not going to see Phillip Rivers. Could be a start for Riley Leonard, which I think is kind of right. Get to see what you have there. But it's going to be a very, very tall task going against this Texans defense.
Oh, they're not going to give Old Man Rivers the swan song in Week 18?
Hasn't gone good the last 3 weeks.
I mean, he's been fine. He hasn't really pushed the ball down the field. That's really been the thing for him. He's been dissecting defenses in the intermediate range, that like 6 to 10 yard range. The number that I saw in his 3 starts, Phillip Rivers averaging 6 yards per attempt, which is a very, very low total. But in the last 2 games against Seattle and Jacksonville, averaged under 4.7 yards per attempt. So they might be better off seeing what they have with Riley Leonard just based on that. And when it comes to playoff implications, Texans need a win, and it's a Jaguars loss to clinch the division, correct?
I believe.
Is it win and in?
Well, they're already clinched. They're both.
Division championship.
Yeah.
How about that?
I thought Jacksonville already had it locked up, but if it is a loss by them, that might make sense. I gotta pull that one back up.
I mean, the Texans winners of 11 of their last 13 overall. Only the New England Patriots can say that as well. They're third in DVOA over this 8-game win streak. I think that is all you need to hear. I'd lean under in this one. It opened at 40. Where's it sitting at right now? 39.5, basically sitting there. 40, not necessarily a key number in the game like this. Typically more so of a key number when it comes to a more regular season matchup. But the Texans, I think that more so than a lot of other teams that are already locked into a playoff spot and are fighting for seeding at this point, I think they've got the most to prove in terms of showing that the 8-game win streak is not a fluke. And I think that they stand to benefit the most from going into the playoffs with momentum than just about any other team that's going to be in the playoffs.
You were correct. If the Jags lose this weekend and the Texans win, the Texans will be AFC South champions. If anybody's curious about other playoff scenarios, playoff elimination scenarios, we do have the description or link in the description of the video. So go down, scroll through there, and NFL playoff scenarios and elimination scenarios.
Might as well subscribe too if you're not already, right?
Yep.
But yeah, plenty more to go. And again, I love that it's standardized. Love that these are all divisional matchups here in Week 18.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll go to an AFC East battle, one that features the Patriots trying to compete for the 1 seed in the AFC. They need some help a little bit there, but Dolphins trying to play spoiler. The Patriots open an 11-point favorite, total at 45.5, and we currently sit at 10.5 as the Patriots favored, and total is still at 45.5.
Man, this one's tough because the Dolphins have looked so good. They've also looked so bad. Quinn Ewers, reliable over the last 2 games. Is that kind of, I don't know, what word would you use to describe Quinn Ewers' performance since coming in for the benched Tua Tagovailoa?
Fearless?
I think that's a good one. Yeah, like reliable was the one that I thought of. He's not going to lose you any games. He may not win you any games as of right now, but hey, it's just like the Colts. They are seeing what they have, and I don't think Quinn Ewers is the guy of the future. I don't think they think that. But as a solid backup, we're seeing this year, especially more so than other years in the past, just how solid a backup that can come in and not miss a stride can make your team, because we're seeing a ton of quarterback injuries, and as you get into these late weeks, it's interesting. The one thing that I would take with a grain of salt when it comes to Quinn Ewers is in the 2 games he's looked reliable, fearless, whatever adjectives you want to use, but it's been against the eliminated Bengals and the reeling Buccaneers. So take that for what you will. The other thing, too, is I just don't think Miami's defense is going to be able to do enough to stop New England. I think that this is an over game. I think this is one of the few over games of the Week 18 slate. Patriots coming in the 5th-ranked scoring offense, 7th in total yards in the NFL. And a lot of my thinking on this game is a fade of the Dolphins on the road in cold weather. Mike McDaniel, much ballyhooed in the cold weather. 1-7 career as the coach of the Miami Dolphins in temperatures under 40 degrees, and it gets worse. Dolphins 1-14 under McDaniel on the road versus teams at 500 or better. It's one of the most bettable angles when it comes to coaches in the NFL. Like Mike McDaniel, fade him on the road against a good team, fade him against a cold weather opponent, just like you can expect Mike Tomlin to win in certain matchups.
I'm right there with you. I don't know if I will be laying the double digits here
That's
with the
a lot,
Patriots.
yeah.
But I do believe that Mike Vrabel will lead his team to sweeping the season series against the Dolphins for the first time since 2016. Sweeping 2017, but first time winning consecutive games since 16 to 17.
And the Patriots still eligible for the number 1 seed. They need a win and a Broncos loss. This is a motivated team. Drake May going to win MVP. How about it? I missed the boat on that earlier in the year. Now he's over minus 300 as the favorite. So too late for me. This is a Patriots team. I think that they're going to be able to build too. This is just the start of, I think, where they can be under Mike Vrabel, especially if they can get his solid core of defense built over the couple of seasons. Offensive line once Will Campbell comes back, and as far as the receiving core, I think that they're going to be able to draft with a brand new front office a little bit more consistent, reliable, stable receivers than they have been able to in years past. So I think this is just the beginning for the Patriots. Of course, I am a little bit biased, but we'll see this time next week if the playoffs run through Foxborough or if they run through Denver. It's going to be one of the two. So I'll be very interested to see how this one shakes out. I think the Patriots win. I think it goes over. It's just by a matter of how much for both of these games, in my opinion. But moving on, we'll keep it in the AFC. I don't think anybody suspected this matchup between the Chiefs and the Raiders in Week 18 here in Vegas to be as listless on paper as it has turned out to be. This one opened KC minus 5.5 with a total of, get this, 37 points. It's second lowest of the week. And I mean, what is going on with Pete Carroll and company? Do they blow it up? Is it worth it to blow it up after year one when it's just so evident that nothing is working here so far?
You have to think about what's out there. And
Yeah.
I don't fully know if they're going to get anything better. And it may as well just wait an extra year, see what pops up, see what coordinators really step up to the table this following year, and who can maybe lead you in the right direction. But the Chiefs have not lost in Allegiant Stadium. They are 5-0 against the Raiders,
And
also winning the Super Bowl here.
They bring that up every time that the Chiefs play here. I always forget. I as a neutral, Raiders, I don't care one way or the other about the Raiders. I kind of like that because it's just hilarious because it gets under their skin.
Well, and then if you extend it past when the Raiders moved here, Kansas City has won 3 straight. They've won 9 of the last 10, 14 of the last 16, 19 of the last 22, and 21 of the last 25.
Oh,
The
no.
Chiefs have won against the Raiders. So, yeah, a team that is shutting guys down to make sure that they get the number 1 overall pick in this next draft. I don't think Fernando Mendoza is going to solve all your problems. There's a lot of issues on this Raiders roster, but I don't think they get the win here.
Yeah, next year's quarterback class is projected to be one of the best in a long time. Of course, suspected to be led by Arch Manning. And going back to the Pete Carroll decision for the Raiders, my sick, twisted baseball mind brings up the image of a sacrifice bunt. You're not just going to bunt a guy over with your pitcher coming up next, or the universal DH takes that away. But you got to think about what is out there as well. And I'm with you right now. Who would be the coach? Like if Pete Carroll had to step away tomorrow, and Al Dave and MD Mark Davis said, "Hey, I'm going to make a hire tomorrow." Who is out there right now?
Yeah, and I mean, really nobody stands out in my mind as a fantastic hire that's going to flip things around for this organization.
Every year Joe Brady gets brought up, and every year Joe Brady doesn't get a head coaching job.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Brady is a head coach, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
Eric,
is this Eric Bieniemy's chance?
Well, he's the running back coach in Chicago. He will more than likely get a different job, get promoted probably back to OC, unless he takes over as a head coach. But there's a lot of coaches on that Chicago Bears organization that'll more than likely get poached.
Ben Johnson coaching tree. How about it?
Mm-hmm. But for that one, I don't think anybody can really confidently play the Raiders.
I don't think so either. It's Chiefs or bust. I wouldn't bet this with a single dollar bill that's in Ryan's wallet for a 2,000th subscriber.
All right, we'll move to that NFC North battle featuring those Chicago Bears, looking to be a revenge game from when the Lions put up 52 points against the Bears in Week 2. Open the Bears minus 2.5. we've moved to a 3, and then the total is at 50.5, still there from where it opened.
You want to talk about a revenge spot in a divisional game with things on the line for the Bears in terms of seeding. And you and I talked before we took the air. Is there a single more disappointing team by record this year compared to the preseason expectations than the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, and talking about expectations, not at
Yeah.
all. The Lions have been the ultimate disappointment. I mean, Dan Campbell had kind of mentioned it when they lost to the Niners last year, that it might be their only window, but things not looking good for the Detroit fans.
And not that you wouldn't expect it from Dan Campbell, but he is brutally honest. He brought it up again after the loss last week, and this is a Lions team that really has struggled. How funny is it, too, though, Ryan? This matchup in week 2 has felt like years and years ago compared to where we are now. I mean, even like 3 weeks ago, this matchup was a potential, or had the potential for an NFC North title game, more or less. Instead, the Bears have already clinched the division. The Lions have been eliminated from the playoffs. So you got two teams going completely different directions. And I'm all over the Bears in this one. I think that as soon as this one gets up to 3, it may not be bettable for me. If it goes over 3, I should say, because it's basically 3 market wide right now, 110 on the odds at most shops. But I think if this one gets back under 2.5, I'm going to or under 3 rather, at 2.5, I'm going to take a bite. The Bears in their last 9 games, 7-2 straight up, 7-1-1 ATS. And I think if their defense is able to have a solid day, not a great day, but a solid day, I think that the Lions, with nothing to play for, are going to really struggle to put up points against Chicago.
Yeah, the Bears win here, and they will host the Green Bay Packers in round 1 of the playoffs. If they lose and the Eagles win, the Eagles will host Green Bay, and the Bears will get to host the Rams, more than likely.
Interesting there. The other note for me in this one is the struggles of Jahmyr Gibbs over the last handful of weeks. A note when I was researching this one is over his last 5 games, Jahmyr Gibbs is averaging under 39 yards per game on average and under 3 yards per carry. Both of those numbers are abysmal for a guy who's an RB1 for just about every other team in the NFL. So I think that the Bears continue that trend. I don't think Gibbs has a big day. I don't think that the Lions are able to move the ball that much. This is a really high total on this one as well at 50.5. For a Week 18 game with no playoff implications on the line for either team. The Bears can move up, obviously, in terms of seeding, but a 10-7 win does the same thing. They just got to win. So this one goes under to me. It's not a play yet. I think if it goes up to 52, I may start to take a look at it because there's so few games with a higher total this week. But I just don't see this game being high scoring.
The only thing I would caution there is the fact that the Lions kind of rubbed it in, getting to the 50 burger in week 2, and Ben Johnson going against his former team might just want to stick it back to his old head coach there and Dan Campbell. But just a caution there on the 50. But I do think division battle. It will be a tougher fought match. But we did see on Sunday night the Bears not really able to make a stop against the San Francisco 49ers, who have been one of the best offenses in the league of recent weeks. But we heard players really on both sides of the ball for the Bears take accountability, and the defense more so admitting that they were not able to make stops when they needed to. So going to get a much tougher effort from the Bears defense here.
And I mean, if this game goes anywhere like I think it will, 31-14, that's a blowout. That's rubbing it in a little bit, and it still goes under. I think that we can all be fine with a 31-14 Bears win, right? And that'll be interesting to see where the Bears finish in the NFC seeding. And that Packers matchup, I know, is one that they want. That's been kind of the team to get over in this division, if it's not the Lions over the last couple of weeks. I think the NFC North, too, just as a little aside, maybe last 4 or 5 years, has there been a better division top to bottom in terms of consistency?
I'm not going to tell you no, but I would say that the NFC West does have a pretty good argument.
That's probably the problem is with that, though, is that the Cardinals have been consistently trash. And again, it's a 5-year window. And the Bears 5 years ago, not where they are now. And the Bears, out of the 4 NFC North teams, have been the worst on paper over the last 5 years, but that's completely flipped this year. I don't think you can give enough credit to what Ben Johnson has done. And I think Caleb Williams not getting enough credit. And I'm not the biggest Caleb Williams guy. I don't think he's, a top 10 quarterback in the league even. But what he's been able to do in terms of showing a turnaround from year 1 to year 2 and staying consistent throughout a whole year as a leader and as a generator and a spark on this offense, I give him all the credit in the world for what he's been able to do.
I just want to point out, if the Bears had won on Sunday night and Matthew Stafford maybe looked the way that he did last night, and Drake May doesn't blow up on the Jets.
Nope.
we would be having a little bit more of a conversation of Caleb Williams being in the MVP, even with kind of Drake May piling it onto the Jets.
Yeah.
You did it to the Jets, and the Bears are doing it in the really since their bye with the most difficult schedule in the NFL, and they would have beaten the Niners, would have had an argument for the 1 seed if the Niners beat the Seahawks this week. So yeah, we would have Caleb Williams in the MVP conversation had things gone a little differently and the final play was made on Sunday night.
I'll acquiesce a bit. I thought you were going to say he was the MVP. I was going to say let's rein it in a bit here, Ryan.
Well, depends who you ask.
Yeah.
I did tell Alex
I'm asking you. That's why.
I did tell Alex last week that Caleb Williams would be my MVP vote had they been able to get it done, but not being the 1 seed kind of matters in my mind, and that's why Stafford's been taken down. But Drake May has been more than capable for that Patriots offense.
And again, I'm hyping up Caleb Williams. I think he's been outstanding this year. You see the graphic on the screen. I actually think that's right in terms of not even the odds, but just the top 4, top 5 guys. I think that is where it should be. I think Trevor Lawrence has a better case for MVP than Caleb Williams, just by a little bit, especially considering that he has almost single-handedly brought that Jags offense back to relativity and playoff contention and playoff spot. So I give Lawrence a little bit more credit. But yeah, Williams, it would have swung things. I'll give you that at the very least. How about that?
Trevor Lawrence has been able to put up the stats thanks to Liam Cohen helping out that offense and being able to actually scheme it for the Jaguars there. The thing I do want to point out for Caleb Williams is looking for 268 passing yards in order to reach that 4,000-yard number. That was his goal for the heading into the year. I do think Ben Johnson will make sure that he gets there on Sunday.
And he strikes me as a guy who has those personal goals. He strikes me as the kind of guy that writes it on a sticky note and keeps it on his bathroom mirror and just like looks at it every day. So I could actually see that.
Polish.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, lipstick on the mirror like you see in the movies. But 286, very, very gettable, so to speak, against this Lions defense. I think they score points. I don't think they go over 50, but that's just me. So we'll see how the line movement dictates that. You brought up the Jets, Ryan, and they go to Buffalo in Week 18. The Bills opened as a 9-point favorite. And this one actually catching some money on the Jets. It's all the way down to 7 at most shops because the Bills expected to rest players. It banged up Josh Allen and the rest of this offense. I mean, you're better off taking the 11 guys on offense and putting them in a cold, dark room with saltine crackers and water for the week and just hoping that nothing goes wrong, because you have a decision to make if you're Buffalo here, because they're in the playoffs. They're either going to be the 5, the 6, or the 7 seed in the AFC. They can't go higher. They can't go lower. So their fate, while it's not sealed, is more or less set. So the Week 18 question becomes, you rest Josh Allen with that foot injury and the rest of this banged-up offense and try for the win to move up as high as 5 in the AFC? Or do you, knowing that you need a win and some help, including the Texans if they fall to go to the 5 seed, do you just rest them, get ready to go for the playoffs? And this line movement in this game, by the way, too, has been absolutely crazy because of the quarterback battle that we're expecting to see if the Bills do rest. And I would imagine as the week goes on, you would see more guys, hey, he might not play, out. So that's kind of how I think this is going to go. Get ready, boys. Mitch Trubisky, Brady Cook. Now that's the marquee matchup of the weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely the ones that Bills fans wanted to see when they were told that Week 18 would be the final game in Highmark Stadium. Will also be the final time that they're, well, not final time, but first time they're wearing the red helmets on the blue jerseys.
Ooh.
And I believe 25 plus years. So yeah, final game in Highmark Stadium. The Bills are 30-21 against the Jets in Highmark Stadium. The Bills have won 4 straight in this rivalry. Even with Mitch Trubisky under center, the Bills get it done here.
I think so too. The question also for the Jets is, does Breece Hall play? He's banged up. They got nothing to play for. They got to protect their investment. He might be looking elsewhere in the offseason. He really, really wanted out of there during the regular season. This one's an under. This is a play for me. I'm going to go under on this one. It opened at 39.5. I'll play it down to 38.5. I just don't think a lot of points are going to be scored. I think that the Jets are hapless offensively. If Breece Hall doesn't go, they're not going to have anything offensively to work with. And Brady Cook under center, behind center, whatever you want to call it, with everybody running shotgun nowadays. So I'm definitely going to play this one under. Like I said, this is the week of the under for me, and I'm really curious. I was trying to find the number, and short of going through every box score for the last 4 years in Week 18, the trends, so to speak, as far as favorites and totals in Week 18 play, with this being year 4. I'd be really interested to see where the totals and almost like the average over-under in this one, too, because there are a ton of games that are under 40 points. I mean, with the opening lines, there were only, I think, 8 or 9 matchups in the NFL with a total of higher than 40 points.
Yeah, well, we've got one that just barely sneaks over the 41 or 40 next, and it's a total of 41. It is Sunday Night Football, so the rotation numbers get a little bit higher, 349, 350. But the Ravens opened a 3-point favorite. We have now moved to them being a 3.5-point favorite. So again, trusting the favorite here with the laying of the number versus a take of the number at 3. But 3.5 is where it sits. 41 is the total.
I mean, it would be poetic justice if the Steelers lose this game and finish the regular season 9-8, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of Mike Tomlin's thing, is one game over 500. I also think it's crazy that in his entire tenure with Pittsburgh, they have played one quote-unquote meaningless game where they've been eliminated from the playoffs. That is absolutely insane. He has been the model and the pinnacle of consistency when it comes to head coaching. I also think that at home, there are bettable angles for the Steelers. I already mentioned that Mike Tomlin's one of the most consistent head coaches in terms of angles that you can bet, and that actually come through, especially in divisional games and especially at home. And one that I'm looking at in this one is the first half, because the Steelers have been getting off to some hot starts in home games. This year, in their 8 home games, they're 8-0 ATS in the first half. So they're going to be dogged in this first half. I could see them going into the second half with a lead in this game, and Mike Tomlin trying to get that proverbial monkey off of his back and get to 10 wins.
Well, he will have to do it more than likely against Tyler Huntley. Lamar Jackson's still questionable with his back contusion, but it would be if Tyler Huntley leads the Ravens to a win here, which is the line has moved towards, people be more confident in that side. It would be his first time winning 3 games in a season as a starter. Granted, he's never started more than 7 games in a season, but it would be his first time really being over 500. He's already there this year with being a 2-0. But it would be his first time winning 3 games. It's also the 3rd time that he will face the Steelers in Week 18.
In 4 possible years.
Yes, and he is 0-2 in those games. He's also just 1-3 against the Steelers as the Ravens starter.
And Tomlin, as a defensive coach, you would imagine, does a great job against scheming against inferior quarterbacks on paper. It was like Belichick off of a bye or Andy Reid off of a bye. I mean, there's these bettable angles on head coaches, and I think Mike Tomlin may be one of 3 or 4 coaches in the NFL where I really, really trust a lot of trends when it comes to betting on the head coaches. Otherwise, like it's a throwaway for me. I'm not betting on Liam Cohen, as a 3-0 home favorite this year for Liam Cohen. No, but we're talking Tomlin, we're talking Harbaugh, we're talking Shanahan, and I'll fade McDaniel in cold weather all day.
All right, we'll go to the other AFC North battle. This one in Cincinnati versus the Bengals versus the Browns. Open the Bengals a -7.5-point favorite. We are still there at 7.5. Total opened at 44.5. We moved up a half now to 45.
Interesting here. Yeah, this one between 2 eliminated teams, but I think 2 teams that are going to have something to play for in this one. You would imagine the AFC North, the most hotly contested division in football over the years. This one's gross. This is a complete stay away for me. I got absolutely nothing on this game, and especially with the line being where it is, it's 7.5. Just blah.
Yeah, with it moving over the touchdown, I wouldn't confidently lay it.
The tease or nothing for me. 6-point tease, get it down to 1.5 on the Bengals.
I did want to mention the Bengals have won 4 straight in this rivalry, 5 of the last 6. And then if you look at really how the last 3 weeks have played for the Bengals, they get shut out by the Ravens, 24-0. And then they've won their last 2 games by at least 23 points apiece while they were eliminated from playoff contention.
Wow.
So really just trying to feel good going into the offseason, getting their guys some confidence. They still have guys under contract. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. I do think we'll be able to get things done. So it will be a play with the Bengals.
Yeah, the only play for me, if I were to play the Bengals, would be that tease. I'd have to find something to go with it. I give out all the rest of my unders as well, so maybe like a 6-leg tease. No, I would never advise that. Please do not do what I was suggesting there. So from the AFC North, we'll go to the NFC East because we got a pair of games back-to-back on Sunday that are interesting for very different reasons. Cowboys, Giants in the Meadowlands. Highest total of the week, open 52.5. Been bet down to 52. 52.5, by the way, would be tied for the highest total ever between the Cowboys and the Giants. And Ryan, you found a historical trend in this game that literally made my jaw drop to the floor when we were looking at it before the show.
Yeah, so all time, the Cowboys lead this rivalry 78-47-2. But the Cowboys have won 9 straight. 16 of the last 17 and 21 of the last 25. The Cowboys have beaten the Giants.
That's crazy.
They won earlier this year, 40-37 in overtime, so easily went over this total of 52. And yeah, my guy Daniel Bellinger has yet to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
That's crazy. And you said what? It's nine straight losses for the G-men?
Yep.
So in theory, if the Cowboys win, that's 10 years? That's 5 years. 5 years. It could be 10 years. 5 years straight where they have not beat the Cowboys. And I think if there is a quarterback right now that is going to show out in a meaningless game, it is Jackson Dart. He may run through a brick wall to play in this game. Two of the worst defenses in the NFL. So that's the reason why this one's all the way up at 52. Don't forget, the Giants are 2 weeks removed from that 16-13 showing against Max Brosmer where they put up just 141 yards of total offense. I think Dallas is going to be able to mimic what we saw from the Vikings defense in that game that severely, and I mean absolutely, shut down this Giants offense. This Cowboys defense, though, kind of an anomaly. Listen to this. The Cowboys defense applies pressure on the quarterback, gets pressure on the quarterback at the second highest rate in the NFL. However, on PFF, they have the single worst DVOA in the entire league. So they get pressure. They don't really do much with it.
That is not good.
That's crazy. And this one is trending to the over. I don't think it gets there because of the quarterback battle. Dallas this season, 11-4-1 to the over. The Giants 10-6 to the over this season. This is the highest total of the year for the G-men.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't hate maybe taking it down and getting the over there on the tees, but
there's your tease with the Bengals. How about it?
Yeah.
From that one to this one has a little bit of implications. I think we're going to see probably a better overall game, and it's one that I've got to play on. Washington at Philly, Commies at Eagles. Eagles defeated Washington 29-18 in D.C. 2 weeks ago. So this is another matchup that not only is a battle of two teams that have faced each other recently, division foes, Eagles could move as high as the 2 seed in the NFC with a win and some help. So they are the much more motivated team. Obviously, they're much more healthy, and this one right at that key number of 7 and right on that key number of 41 as well in the total.
Yeah, and if you remember the 2 weeks ago, the Eagles are pretty much already had it settled and kind of ran it up and kicked a field goal with time running out, and the Commanders not really in a chance to win that one.
Yeah, that was weird.
So Dan Quinn had kind of pointed out, like, if that's how you want to play it, we'll see him in 2 weeks.
You want to play?
I think you're going to get a pretty good effort here from the Commanders.
I think so, too.
The Eagles have won 2 straight in this rivalry. They've won 14 of the last 18 in this rivalry. But it would be really hard to play on the Commanders here, being the fact they've only won 1 of their last 11 games and only 2 wins in the final 3 months of 2025.
That's brutal. And I do think that they are going to have the motivation angle. I think Dan Quinn's one of the better motivators as far as head coaches go in the NFL, but it's so hard to ignore the motivation here in Week 18. I think this is obviously the week where you can play motivation more than any other week in the regular season. Washington, you got to imagine, like a backup linebacker, just a random guy, not a star on that roster. You have to have been looking forward to this offseason for literal months after the injury-riddled season and the losses just stacking up for the Commanders week after week after week. I can only imagine there's a lot of the roster, despite what the head coach and the memory of that game a couple weeks ago is going to say. There's a large chunk of this roster, I think, is very much looking forward to their golf vacation schedule for next week.
Could be, but also remember that it's the last game they'll play for the next 9 months until we get into August. And so if they want to go out with a little bit of pride, maybe they'll do so. And Eagles are feeling pretty good. Nick Sirianni running into the tunnel, running into the team locker room, talking about Bills fans are real quiet now.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty nice letdown spot here for the Eagles.
We'll see. I don't think there's a lot of points. I'm going to play under. I'm on under 41 in this game, partially for the motivation factor. Like I said, on Washington offensively has really been where their struggles are this year. But the Eagles, not only one of the better defenses in the league all season long, especially over the last 3 weeks, they've given up 30 points combined in their last 3 weeks. 18 of them were to Washington 2 weeks ago. So that's the majority of those 30, and I think that this is a worse Washington team, at least worse for wear, if nothing else, now compared to 2 weeks ago. So I think that the Eagles absolutely shut them down. They're going to run the heck out of the ball, wind the clock, milk possessions. I could very much see a 17-10 final in this game.
That would be a good take there with the Commanders. get safe, maybe tease them up, get
Yeah.
14, get over 2 touchdowns there with 14 and a half. Or, well, it's down to 7 now, so it'd be 13.
I just don't think that there's going to be a big separation in this game. Like, even if the Eagles dominate on paper, every stat's going to, I think, benefit the home side in this one. But I think it's going to be a game that maybe not come down to a final possession, but it's, I think, 20-10, 17-10. I could very much see a game like that playing out.
Yeah, I could see it. We've got the other NFC South battle taking place on Sunday. If the Falcons win it, doesn't matter what happens on Saturday for the Panthers and Buccaneers there. So currently off the board here at the South Point. I misspoke. It opened up.
There we
have
go.
a 3. Falcons 3-point favorite, total at 43.5.
And I mean, for the Saints, I'm so conflicted on New Orleans this year, because when the Raiders realized that this was not going to be a season to remember, they went full tank mode. The Commanders, full tank mode. The Giants, even with Jackson Dart's effort, full tank mode. You see teams committing to the bit, so to speak. And then you got Tyler Shuck, the 38-year-old rookie, however old he is. He makes me feel young. 27, right?
I think so.
26, 27. Still, an old rookie going to win Rookie of the Year. He's minus money to win Rookie of the Year. And for Saints fans, they are really, and I mean really, expecting this next year's draft class to be something special, because that 10th, 11th overall pick is just going to be great, right? When they were, earlier in the year looking like they were going to have a top 5 pick. It's a pride versus I would say on paper head play. You want to win the games. You saw Lovie Smith with the Texans a couple years ago have a similar situation where they needed to lose to have the number 1 seed, and his going away present to the franchise was to win that final game and make them lose out. They ended up just all right with C.J. Stroud following that. But yeah, this one's weird. Motivation's certainly interesting to take a look at. I think the Falcons are probably rightly favored in this game slightly. I do think that they take care of business at home like we saw from Bijan Robinson. I think if they get a lead, Atlanta's going to be able to hold on.
I think both of these teams are going to be trying to win this game. Culture setting for the Saints. The Falcons don't have their first-round pick, so losing doesn't help them.
Yeah.
It goes to the Rams, and I feel like that was kind of a motivating factor for last night's game.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together on that.
So, yeah, I do think this will be a pretty good game here. Might be looking at taking the Saints up to 9.
I'd be interested to see what the line movement is, because this line just came out this morning with the Falcons playing last night on Monday. I'd be interested to see what the immediate move is. Again, on that key number, if it goes down to 2.5, meaning the Saints are taking money, I'd maybe fire on the Falcons. But if it gets to, Falcons laying 4, laying 5, I might wait. That seems like a really, really good teaser spot. In all seriousness, a Saints-Bengals tease may not be the worst idea. You get one favorite and one dog, one home, one road. Kind of mix things up. I like to have a little bit of diversity in my teasers as far as being on both sides of the aisle, just to get you going, just to really, really hype you up on that one. But you mentioned the Rams. We'll talk about that one in an NFC West matchup between the Cardinals and the Rams. We saw Matt Stafford struggle last night, and this one has opened a line. The Rams laying 7 at home. Man, these are all key numbers this week in terms of the spreads.
Yeah, there are 7.5s in the market. I'm not sure which way we will move here at the South Point, but I would anticipate that it will be more so a lay with the Rams. The Cardinals have just been awful to finish the year and don't really look like they have any confidence or will to want to finish the season. I think they are a team that really just wants to go play golf.
Yeah. Or if you're Kyler Murray, keep doing what he's doing and playing video games. What's the decision there for the Cardinals on the starting quarterback?
Yeah, you're going to have to take a lot of dead cap if you decide to move on.
I think
Kyler
it's time.
Murray, but yeah, there's really not much of an option. He's not really a good leader for that organization, hasn't really been the entire time. So, yeah, they're going to have to more than likely bite the bullet and get rid of Kyler Murray.
Don't forget, he was a first-round draft pick in the MLB as well. So, yeah, if this football thing doesn't work out, I'm sure he could go back to doing that. He might be better at Call of Duty, by the way, than he is at both baseball and football. And that's saying something. A guy that was drafted first overall in the NFL and a first-round pick of the A's in the MLB. He'd probably be the first overall pick in a athlete gamer cup,
Yeah.
so to speak, in terms of double XP. Only if it's a double XP weekend, of course, if you're Kyler Murray. But one more game I'll mention, and then you can hit this last one, Ryan. Chargers-Broncos. I'm interested to see the motivation factor in this one for the Chargers. But for the Broncos, the early movement suggesting that the Chargers are going to be resting the starters, and you mentioned before we took the air, Justin Herbert not going to play. Broncos with a win can snag the number 1 seed. So they're really going to be motivated, and I think this line is going to continue to move. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 2 touchdowns. This one opened, there was one shot that opened like 3.5 on this game, right?
Yes.
Pre Justin Herbert news as well. The Chargers have way less to play for. Their seeding isn't as affected by this game. You're looking at Trey Lance versus a motivated Broncos defense who rank among the NFL's elite just about every category. The one thing that gives me pause, I guess 2 things. One, because the number is getting huge and I think is going to continue to run away from the Chargers. The Broncos as favorites this year, just 2-9 ATS. So Bo Nix and company have taken care of business to some. They've won but not covered a lot. 2-9, 11 times as a favorite this year. That says something. And you're talking motivation, so I think you can kind of throw that number out the window. But it was interesting when I found that because I was going to be all over the Broncos regardless of the number. And then that trend kind of gave me a little bit of pause.
Yeah, we opened at a 7.5, and then the Justin Herbert news came out. We jumped to 10.5, moved to 11, and then jumped to 12.5, and now sit at 12. Total open 39.5, and we jumped down to 37.5. So yeah, not a whole lot of confidence in what Trey Lance will be able to do with the Chargers, especially against this defense. But this one will be another teaser, getting 3 scores with the Chargers.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, you might have to add a principle on that, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll go to the final game in rotation number order. It is a AFC South battle between the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Open Jags minus 12.5, total at 47.5. We still sit right there off the openers in this one.
That's interesting. And this is one, like, there's certain games that immediately when I go to look at the numbers across the market, the tickets and the money count jump out to me. A lot of these games I could really take it or leave it. But for this one, the numbers were interesting to me because right now, market-wide, Jacksonville's taking 56% of the tickets, but 93% of the money. And, you know, when I was coming up in this industry, what I was told is, generally speaking, is that ticket counts are going to be the average Joes and the money is going to be the pros. You know, less bets, bigger numbers. So what that tells me is that the pros, the sharp bettors, are all over Jacksonville. Again, 93% of the money on just 56% of the tickets. So bettors are loading up on the Jags, expecting to blow out this Titans team that's among the NFL's worst again. The other thing as well is that the bettors expecting this one to go over. 83% of the tickets, 88% of the money is on over right now at 47.5, just about market wide. So I think this is one of the games where the bettors kind of tell you what's expected to happen more so than others.
Jags have won 3 straight in this rivalry. If they get the 4th win here, it will be tied for their longest winning streak in this rivalry since 1996 to 1998. So a long time coming for the Jags to be able to kind of dominate the Titans the way they have. They won earlier this year in Week 13, 25-3, so their defense was able to stand up. I do think they're going to be able to do it again. I do think they're going to try and rub it in here in Week 18, just to feel good going into the playoffs, even though they've already won 7 straight, 8 of the last 9 since their bye week. So, yeah, I think it would be a lay with the Jags here.
And literally, as I mentioned, the ticket count and the money on the total, it just changed. Now 93% of the money is on over. So 93% of the money is on over. 93% of the money is on the Jaguars to cover this big number. So there are certainly some teaser legs that are interesting this week. And I don't have a teaser on my whiteboard later on, but there are certainly going to be some games that I think about teasing. Like Cincy, New Orleans, and Jacksonville makes sense to me as a 3-team 6-point tease.
I don't hate it.
We'll see. I know I got you on a teaser. I never have to convince you on a teaser. How about this? We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break down our 3 games of the week in a little bit more detail. That's Carolina, Tampa, Seattle, San Francisco, and Baltimore, Pittsburgh. We'll have a couple of plays in the bowl games tonight. I've got a college basketball play, and we'll talk a little bit of NHL as well on the other side. This is Sports by the Book. He's Ryan McCormick. I'm Matt Neverett, back from South Point Studios in just a moment.
If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with primarily prime rib. Catering to hearty appetites, the menu features a variety of flavorful prime rib cuts, dry-aged to ensure tenderness, and then seasoned and slowly roasted. Although prime rib is our specialty, it's not the only thing on the menu. There's something for everyone.
Looking to bet smarter? Get sports betting insight and winning picks straight from the South Point Hotel and Casino.
I think we're going to get goals from both sides here. Give me over 5.5.
That is also one of my favorite plays of the weekend is the Colts -3 on the road.
So you're getting plus 130 here.
I mean, how can you go against Tusky?
Exactly.
Join Sports by the Book at 10 a.m. Pacific and bet your winning edge. Back at it again from the South Point Studios. In for Alex White, I'm Matt Neverett. We hope Alex the best, and you know she's watching, and we'll see her back in this chair very soon, along with Ryan McCormick. We've been breaking down the Week 18 matchups in the NFL. We've got plenty still more to go as we take a deep dive into some of these games. We'll also have a college basketball play or two, 3 bowl games in the college football ranks tonight. I've got a play in one of them, and we'll definitely talk about the 5 games going on the ice in the NHL tonight. Don't forget about our ticker trivia on the bottom, presented by City Light Shine. We'll get to that at the end of the show. Vince and the gang always do a great job of making it topical for today here as we wind down to the end of the year 2025. Where does the time go? 2 days until New Year's Eve. We appreciate you joining us here. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a race to 2,000 subscribers. Again, it's official. You get a dollar bill out of Ryan McCormick's wallet if you're the 2,000 subscribers. Somehow, some way, we'll find a way to set that up and get you out here to the South Point studio. If you are lucky number 2K, hit that subscribe button right here, right now. But Ryan, ready to deep dive? Let's do it, my friend. There are 3 matchups that we wanted to key in on this weekend in the NFL. Motivation, always a factor, but in the Week 18, this 4th year of the Week 18, even more so. And I think that these 2 Saturday games especially are my 2 favorite games of the week. So we'll start it off with this one. The most playoff implications in the NFL are this matchup right here in Tampa Bay. Raymond James Stadium plays host. It's the Carolina Panthers. It's Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This one open, Tampa Bay -3 and a 44.5 point on the total, and already being bet down to 2.5 and 42.5. These are the 2 most motivated teams in the NFL, despite the fact that the Buccaneers are really trying to shake off that recent slide. They have been abysmal as they've been reeling here over the last handful of weeks.
Yeah, it's been a take of the number of 3 with the Panthers. We'll find out if it's going to be a toggler if we move back to 3, but it looks like people are trusting more the Cats to get it done here against the Bucs and ultimately decide the NFC South for themselves and not need the Falcons' help if the Bucs were to get it done here.
And it is win or go home for Baker Mayfield and company. They failed to cover the spread in their last 8 games, so that gives you some pause. But the last 4 weeks have been the ones that have been interesting to me. 4 straight losses, not good on paper, but by a combined 11 points. They've been in these games. Baker Mayfield has just been having a rough last couple of weeks. Over his last 8 games, that 8-game slide where they've failed to cover a spread, Baker Mayfield averaging just over 6 yards per passing attempt. He's thrown 8 interceptions and lost 2 fumbles over that same stretch as well. So a lot of their struggles at the end of the game can almost solely be accredited to the quarterback. So the question is whether you think he's going to be able to turn it around, also considering the fact that the Panthers eked out that 23-20 win at home over Tampa Bay just 2 weeks ago in Week 16. I guess the question in this game becomes, Ryan, is a healthy Buccaneers offense enough to overcome a Panthers team that they couldn't defeat 2 weeks ago?
As long as they shut down Rico Dowdle, I believe that they will be enough as long as, they get the production from the Buccaneers offense. But we did see in the matchup in Week 16, the Bucs led the total yards, led the time of possession by almost 12 minutes, or 10 minutes, excuse me. But it was penalties that cost the Buccaneers. And ultimately on their final drive with a chance to win it, Baker Mayfield threw an interception. So if they're able to control the clock the way that they did in their first matchup, I do think that the Bucs would be able to get it done. But with that being said, they still need help, even with a win, to get in and win the NFC South. They need the Saints to beat the Falcons, as well as getting a win here. The Buccaneers getting a win here against the Panthers in order to be NFC South champs.
A trend that I found on this one, the Panthers coming off of an outright loss this year when they turn it around the next game, they're 7-0 ATS. So as far as the spread goes, it's Panthers or bust. This one may be another potential for a for a teaser spot if you're going to bet on Carolina, but this one screams under, and my play is going to be under. I got it at 43.5 this morning here at South Point. Carolina's gone under in their last 3 games. They're averaging just 16.7 points scored over that same stretch, and Tampa back-to-back under games, averaging less than 19 points per game over those two. Now, these two teams played to 43 2 weeks ago. I don't think that the offense is necessarily as much of a factor in this game. I think it's going to be more about the turnover battle and winning on third downs. I think that's going to be the underrated number, is those really tight lines on third downs, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. I think whoever has the better success rate on those types of plays is going to win this one. I don't see this one getting more than a double-digit point game at all. I think it's going to be close throughout. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I'm going under 43.5.
I like it. And you had mentioned that the Bucks have lost 4 straight, also losing those against the spread. And you mentioned that they haven't covered a game since their bye week, 8 straight against the spread losses. They've lost 7 of those outright. So the Bucks not at all playing good football. I don't even know if winning a close one here would give them the confidence boost.
Yeah, really.
To really go against the NFC West runner-up in the 5 seed there, getting to host them. But yeah, it would be a take with the Panthers. The best price available on the money line is here at the South Point plus 130. We'll see if it continues to move towards the Panthers, so that price might go down. But yeah, it would be a look to the Panthers here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this one's interesting. And for the Buccaneers, you talk about a team that controlled their own destiny coming out of a bye, and they've just completely let the bottom drop out. So this is an opportunity for them to rectify that and sneak into the playoffs with a win and some help as a division champion. This Saturday at 1:30 here. This one's going to be televised on ABC. The other Saturday game, I think, is my absolute favorite game of the week. It's another playoff game, more or less, with huge implications between Seattle and the 49ers. This one in Santa Clara. And my play on this one, I'm all over the 49ers. I like the money line. I think that they dominate in this matchup. Sam Darnold has struggled against Kyle Shanahan coach teams in the past, and I think the 49ers are able to keep that trend going. They're winners of 6 straight games, thanks in no small part as well due to the play of Brock Purdy. I think he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the last 10 weeks or so. Since week 11, since he came back. How about this? He's top 2 in most advanced Pro Football Focus passer metrics. And over the last 3 games, Brock Purdy has thrown for 72.5% completion, 11 touchdowns and 2 picks, and a couple of rushing touchdowns in there just to boot. And on the other side, Sam Darnold, 4 picks over his last 2 games, and we've seen him throw as many as 4 in a game this year. He's had a proclivity for turnovers and bunches, and I think the 49ers are going to be able to swarm him and keep him off balance all night in this one.
Yeah, so you mentioned it. The winner of this game is the number 1 seed in the NFC. The NFC will go through either San Francisco or Seattle. You mentioned the Niners were winners of 6 straight. The Seahawks are also winners of 6 straight. The Niners have won 7 of their last 8 games. The Seahawks have won 10 of their last 11. But looking at this rivalry specifically, the Niners have won 7 of the last 8 games in this rivalry. And then you also look back at the matchup in Week 1. Talk about the all divisional games in Week 18 is one of my favorite things. I also do love when we get a matchup in Week 1 and we get that same matchup in Week 18 to kind of see how seasons have kind of turned around for those teams. But the Niners did win that one 17-13. They really dominated the game despite the score being so close. They had more penalties. They had a missed field goal and a blocked field goal to keep points off the board. And they ultimately ended up scoring a go-ahead touchdown in the final 2 minutes of the game and then forced a fumble to seal the deal at the end. But led time of possession in that first matchup by 16 minutes and led total yards by 154. Granted, these two teams have looked a lot different than they did in Week 1. The Seahawks looking like, or are the number 1 seed in the NFC currently, but it would be a look with you. The Niners getting it done here, having the playoffs go through Santa Clara, and maybe an opportunity to host the Super Bowl for the Niners.
Yeah, call me old-fashioned, but I'm not a fan of the divisional matchups in Week 1. I mean, there's so much that goes into divisional games. You play them twice a year. I like it better, just me personally, whenever it's kind of bunched up towards the end. That's when you get these games that really mean something at the end of the year against these rivals that hate each other, playing against each other twice a year. But yeah, call me old-fashioned, old man Matt, old man yells at cloud. when it comes to the NFL scheduling.
That's the college football play-by-play guy. Right
Exactly. I want your non-con out of the way in the NFL before you even think about playing a conference opponent. But I digress on that. Yeah, Rebels 4-0 in the non-conference schedule this year, by the way. Our last game we wanted to take a look at is one of the most heated rivalries in the NFL, no doubt about it, and one of the more interesting games to take a look at here in Week 18. It's the Steelers hosting the Baltimore Ravens this weekend in Pittsburgh. This is going to open Pittsburgh -3. And the total at 41, which has not moved. It's being bet up to 3.5 on the Baltimore Ravens as a favorite on the road. The Steelers 8-0 in terms of the first half ATS this year. They have not covered a first half at home. I think they're able to jump out to a hot start in this one. I like Pittsburgh potentially to cover that 3.5. Again, Mike Tomlin with a win would get 10 wins in a season. I never thought we'd see it. With a loss, he'd finish at 9-8, which is exactly where you could have predicted that the Steelers would have been based on past results coming into the season. But this one's interesting. This one is really tight. Tyler Huntley expected to go for the Ravens as Lamar rests for the playoffs. Derrick Henry, I think, may get a little bit of a rest as well. I think we don't see him a ton, at least less than King Henry is used to. And for the Steelers, we're seeing some interesting, communication between Aaron Rodgers and the sideline. They wanted to make a sub during the 2-minute drill last week, and Rodgers is like, no, I got it. He's one of maybe 2 quarterbacks in the NFL right now that could get away with that. Maybe him and Stafford are the 2 that you say, hey, you're running the show right now. I'm just going to sit back and watch in the 2-minute drill.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Derrick Henry, and he is coming off a game that he tied his career high in carries in the game, 34 carries against the Green Bay Packers.
Fantasy GOAT.
Over 200 yards rushing. So incredible performance by Derrick Henry in their last matchup. You maybe think that the Ravens go right back to it and trusting their running back that they should have been trusting all year long, and they probably wouldn't be in this position of needing to win to get in. But we've kind of talked about it. Winning in has been a good fade spot, but for both of them, you can't fade both teams, even though our guy Chris Andrews has asked that plenty of times.
Yes.
But yeah, talking about Mike Tomlin, since taking over as the Steelers head coach in 2006, is only 22-18 against the Baltimore Ravens. So just over 500 in typical Mike Tomlin fashion. But I would like to think that the Ravens will be able to get it done here. The market has kind of said that as well. We pointed out with the 3 in the Panthers and Bucks game, a take of the 3 with the Panthers. It's been a lay of the 3 here with the Ravens, even though there's still a question of whether or not they'll have Lamar Jackson back. I do think DK Metcalf being suspended for this game is going to be a big factor for the Steelers offense to go against this Ravens defense. So the suspension might just lead them straight into the offseason for the Steelers.
It mentioned already the difference in that Jacksonville, Tennessee game in terms of tickets versus money. In this one, not as striking, but pretty dissimilar. 55% of the tickets on Baltimore to cover as a road favorite, but 80% of the money. So again, the Joes all over the home side, the Steelers, and a lot of the sharp money early in the week, moving this line up to 3.5. Are going to be on the Baltimore Ravens. I wouldn't be surprised, though, Ryan, to see this one get back to 3 throughout the week as a home team. I think a lot of people, too, towards the weekend are going to bet that Tomlin storyline. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this one flip under 3 to a 2.5 by the time it kicks off.
I mean, absolutely. 3 is one of, if not the most key number in football. So, yeah, we'll more than likely see a good old-fashioned toggler here, especially in a division rivalry like this.
The Vinny Magliulo classic with the toggle. That's it for the Week 18 slate. I'm very excited to sit and do nothing. I finally have an opportunity. UNLV basketball plays at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, so I'm going to really have a chance to sit down and watch those 2 exciting games on Saturday night. And then I am leaving my entire Sunday wide open to watch some 3rd, 4th, 5th string quarterbacks. Hey, any NFL team that needs a backup this weekend, there's still some life in this right shoulder. Let me know. At the very least, I am fine with being a game manager. There's nothing wrong with being a game manager when you're a guy like me. So NFL Week 18, 4th year of the Week 18. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we got 3 bowl games today. You want to talk some football as well on the college ranks?
Yeah. So day 364?
Yes. No leap year this year.
So yeah, we got Coastal Carolina just kicked off against Louisiana Tech in that Independence Bowl. It was looks like we closed with La Tech a 10-point favorite.
Yep, I'm seeing
after
10.
opening a 2-point favorite. Oh, excuse me. That one didn't move as much. as the other
7?
ones. 7-point favorite. Yeah. 7 climbed all the way up to 10, peaked at 10.5. But 10-point favorite there for La Tech, and a total at 51.
Nothing on this one for me, but Ryan, you're doing a disservice. I think one of my favorite parts about bowl season, and I'm not even kidding, is the full names of the bowls with the sponsors. I think over the years there have been some favorites. The Gasparilla Mowers Bad Boy Mower Gasparilla Bowl. Bad Boy Mowers also sponsored the Bahamas Bowl. They also sponsored the Pins. I mean, Bad Boy Mowers is just like a sponsor for hire. We just did the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl with UNLV. So this is the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Get it right on that one between Coastal Carolina and La Tech. The other two bowl games today, actually, I think pretty intriguing. And I got nothing on this next one, but Tennessee and Illinois in the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl in Nashville, a battle of two 8-4 teams that underwhelmed in terms of their preseason expectations. But look at that total, 62 points. There's a lot of opt-outs in this game, and the books don't think there's going to be much defense at all.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a toggler here. That now we've gotten to that key number 3. Open Tennessee -5, moved all the way down to 2.5. It looks like it's bouncing at that 3. Total open 61.5, and we got as low as 60.5, as high as 62.5, but it's toggled right there with where this one's at.
Wow, and you want to talk about line movement? The final game of the night, the one that I've got to play on, this game has been swinging back and forth like a seesaw between USC and TCU in the Alamo Bowl. USC comes into this one on paper, ranked as the number 16 team in all the land, at 9-3 in the regular season. TCU, a pretty disappointing 8-4 for Sonny Dykes and company. The Valero Alamo Bowl tonight in San Francisco, San Antonio. I think it's going to be a home game for TCU. I think they're going to have an advantage. USC always travels well, but they're not going to be traveling their own roster very well. Former UNLV Rebel at quarterback Jada Mayava, who was a Heisman contender for a lot of the year, is going to play, and he is going to come back next year for the Trojans, but he's without his top 3 pass catchers, leaving only a freshman with 28 receptions on the year as his top target, and they're also going to be without 4 of their top 5 rated players on defense as graded by PFF, all due to opt-outs. And I think it's a motivated TCU team. They're going to be without their starting quarterback, Josh Hoover, as well. But their backup, Ken Seals, don't forget, he started 22 games at Vanderbilt before Diego Pavia got there. He was the starter that was usurped, unseated, so to speak, by Diego Pavia, and he had an outstanding year. So, all's well that ends well. So it's not that much of a drop-off, I think, for TCU. The other note in this game that makes me think that TCU is going to have the advantage as a slight dog with this line moving all over the place. USC this season has been favored by 3 or more points 7 times. They've covered the spread once in that stretch. So they do not take care of business when they are favored by it's 3 or more. But I think in this game, even higher. Give me TCU. And it's plus the 6. This one's been at 6.5, went down to 3.5, now back up. A lot of opt-outs. This game later tonight on ESPN at 6 o'clock out here on the West Coast. Give me Sonny Dykes and the Horned Frogs.
I'm right there with you. I like it. I like them being at home, probably having the majority of the crowd there. So, yeah. We'll fade the Trojans here.
And we got a bunch of college basketball going on today, along with those 3 bowl games. 32 games on the hardwood and in the NCAA. I got to play on one of them. There are some interesting games here, Ryan, especially on the West Coast, especially. Butler-Creighton's a great game. That one on FS1 at 6. Creighton laying 5.5 at home over the Bulldogs. I think Notre Dame-Stanford going to be one of the underrated games on the slate tonight. The one that I've got to play on. Love the Big East, especially once you get into conference play. And this one between Seton Hall and Marquette caught my eye immediately. FS1 televising it. 4 o'clock tip-off, 609, 610, the betting rotation number. I'm all over the Pirates. Marquette has dominated this series as of late, winning 7 of the last 8 in this matchup in particular. But this is a very different Marquette team than we're used to seeing over the past 2 years. They've lost 4 straight. They have not beaten a top 200 opponent on the season. And they are 0-8-1 ATS in their last 9 games overall. They're going this way. Seton Hall, at the worst, is doing this. So you'd rather take the team that's consistent over the team that's in complete free fall. The other note, too, that gave me some confidence in the Pirates and Seton Hall is that they're 5-0 on the road against the spread this year. They have taken care of business when they're supposed to on the road. It's a great coaching matchup as well. I think that's the one thing about the Big East is that the coaching matchups, the coaching matchups are really underrated. Shaheen Holloway, former Seton Hall player himself, now the coach for his alma mater, against Shaka Smart, who's up there in Marquette doing great things. But I think that the Pirates get it done tonight. Give me Seton Hall. I'll lay 2 points on the road.
All right, very nice. I don't have anything on the hardwood. I've got a couple plays on the ice. Do you have anything in this first one between the Carolina Hurricanes and Pittsburgh Penguins?
It's tough. So the Penguins are my team. That's who I root for. Living in Pittsburgh for a while, especially with the Crosby, Malkin, Letang trio, along with Marc-Andre Fleury. I mean, it was so hard not to be a fan of the Penguins when I lived there, because they also won back-to-back titles when I was there. But that's a different story. It's tough because I was just in Raleigh. My mom lives about 10 minutes from the arena, and I've been to a couple of Hurricanes games. But Carolina on the second leg of a back-to-back, and the note that I found is when they have been favored in the second leg of a back-to-back this year, which has been 6 times, they failed to cover 4 of those 6. So it's been, I would say that's enough of a volume and a sample size to where that's a bettable trend. The other number as well, I think whoever gets off to a hot start is going to have the advantage in this game. It goes without saying. For the Penguins, in their last 6 games, whoever is favored has won the first period. Not lost, not tied. Whoever is favored has won the first period. So the Hurricanes a slight favorite here. It would lend you to think that there would be a play on the Hurricanes in the first period based off of that number.
I don't have anything in that one. The Penguins have really, really struggled. I do think
they're just old.
It is a good look though with the Hurricanes getting the kind of overtime win that they did last night. Really with 15 seconds left. So yeah, I don't hate that angle of fading them on the second night of a back-to-back. But tough to do there with the Penguins.
Oh man, look at the ticket counts. 91% of the tickets and 87% of the money are on the Hurricanes. So that's across the board. That's pros, Joes, that's average, that's sharp. That's just about everybody loading up on the Hurricanes. So maybe in that sense, you wait until this one is getting close to puck drop in about 5 hours, and you load up on the Penguins catching it on the other side. With a total of 6.5, no interest there. I don't think the Penguins do enough for you offensively to get to that total. But yeah, I might wait and load up on the Penguins right before puck drop. Full bias though, I will admit that right off the top. So that's kind of where I'm thinking on that one. What's your favorite game of the day? There's 4 other ones. Is there one that stands out to you more so than any other of the remainders?
Yeah, it is this next one. Rotation number order. New Jersey, the Devils on the road in Toronto, taking on the Maple Leafs. It will be a play with the underdog Leafs here at home. They're 12-5-5 at home this year. The Devils have lost 3 straight, and the Leafs are coming off a 3-2 overtime loss on the road in Detroit. Toronto's also won 3 straight home games. So fading a team that has not been good on the road recently, and the Devils really struggled, period, recently.
Yeah.
And the Leafs kind of playing good once kind of everybody's getting on the same page that they weren't on the same page. So it will be a look at them getting plus money. It's 110 here at the South Point. There are 115s, even a 120 available. So might wait to try and see if I can get a better number here at the South Point. But yeah, it will be a play on the Leafs there.
I would maybe think about an over in that game. The motivated Maple Leafs, I think, are going to be kind of scary once they're able to figure some things out. Right now, they're dead last in the Atlantic Division, just over 500 at 17, 15, and 6. They're right at about the halfway point of the season. So it's kind of you're deciding the rest of your fate here over these next weeks, and whether you can turn the corner or continue to fade into obscurity. And while Toronto's dead last in that division, they have picked up points in their last 3 games. So they come in with, at least for their sake, a little bit of momentum. And the Devils going the opposite way, like you had mentioned. Maple Leafs also giving up just about 3.5 goals per game. So I think this one, with a total of 6, yeah, it would be an over lean for me, if anything, on this one.
Also juice to the under, so laying less of a vig there with taking the over.
Always good to get that. I think the matchup between the Canadians and the Panthers is an intriguing one, a pretty big favorite. But the fighting Dwayne Colucci's always seem to put up a fight against the NHL's top talent.
Yeah, the Habs have been doing pretty well recently. They are in the middle of a road trip coming off of the Christmas break. They have 3 more after this one tonight. If you include the games before Christmas, it is a 7-game road trip for the Canadians. And the thing that I was kind of looking at, the Panthers, have traded wins and losses, and they won a couple nights ago, but their next game is going to be in the Winter Classic against the Rangers. So maybe looking ahead to that, I think it might be worth it here to take a chance with the Canadians.
And only because I haven't been focusing as much this time of year. Where are they playing that game in New York?
I believe it's actually in Florida.
Silly me. I assume they'd be playing a hockey game in the winter in New York.
Right. 2020. I gotta look it up.
I was gonna say. I mean,
I believe it's in Miami.
Where? They're gonna play it in on the beach.
Let's see. It is in Miami. I gotta find the stadium.
Okay.
Lone Depot Park. Oh,
they're playing at the Marlins. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, they'll just retract the roof.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. I've been to that park once. It's like in the middle of a neighborhood. That's going to be a really weird scene with the Cuban party atmosphere down there. It's like literally in the middle of like a little Havana Cuban neighborhood, and then just all the hockey fans coming down there and being loud and rowdy. It's going to be two very different types of loud and rowdy outside at some of the establishments, but that's a fun mix right there. I would love to be down there for that game. Maybe I'll take next week off. We'll see. depends on how you guys are feeling. Well, what do you think about your Blackhawks tonight hosting the Islanders?
Yeah, both teams coming to this one off a loss. The Islanders have lost 4 straight road games. But since the Blackhawks have lost Connor Bedard, they've lost 6 of 7, managed to get an overtime win against the Dallas Stars, which was kind of a confidence boost for the guys. Otherwise, it'd be a 7-game losing streak. Actually, a 9-game losing streak, losing Bedard. Since losing Bedard, so well, including the 2 losses with Bedard, but
they were losing with him too, Ryan.
They haven't been able to really put up any offensive production without him, and it would be a look to the Islanders here. I think their defense plays a lot better, and it really has not been much of offense there for the Blackhawks, but it is at home, so could be a good look there to the under in a tough matchup, and Spencer Knight has been one of the best goalies in the NHL this year.
Definitely check your starting goalie matchups before putting a wager down on that one. Last game of the night, Philly-Vancouver, 67-68 on the rotation number. This one, the late start at 7 o'clock here on the West Coast. One of the best numbers you'll find market-wide, plus 125 on the Flyers right here at South Point. A lot of places up to 130. I see a 135 in the market on the Flyers as well. So the Philly definitely taking some action in this game.
Yeah, minus there. So the favorite on the road team. You can't confidently play the Canucks here. Really, the last month they've been playing really bad hockey. So, but the Flyers have been pretty spotty. We were talking about them beginning of the year. They were getting a lot of confidence boost, playing some pretty good offense there. Got a lot of able to control the puck in the offensive zone for a majority of the games. So I would tend to think that they will do so here in Vancouver.
That'll be interesting. Grand Salami, 31. You got an opinion on that one way or the other?
I would tend to go. I would lean to the under there.
I'd lean under as well.
Yeah.
Better juice, 105 compared to 115, both of them minus money. So, yeah, 5-game slate in the NHL tonight. Just a 4-game slate in the NBA, by the way. Celtics-Jazz going to be the game that I'm keeping an eye on to see if the Celtics are able to win as a big road favorite here in Salt Lake City, not too far away. You want to get to ticker trivia?
Yeah,
let's hit it.
All right, so it was a golf question for you guys today. Which professional golfer shares the record for most PGA Tour wins? 82 of them, with Sam Snead.
Well, it's got to be Hogan, not Palmer.
You going through guesses?
Tiger.
Our ticker trivia presented by City Light Shine, available at Total Wine, Least Discount Liquor, and here at the South Point. The answer was the one and only Tiger Woods.
But when in doubt, guess Tiger, right?
Whose 50th birthday is today. Is tied for the PGA Tour win record at 82 total PGA Tour wins. Woods' first PGA win came in 1996 Las Vegas Invitational at TPC Summerlin, which featured a playoff with Davis Love III. December 30th is a festive date in the sports world as Laila Ali, LeBron James, Carson Wentz, and Sandy Koufax all share birthdays today.
I remember as a kid, I had like one of those flip calendars. You rip the pages off, and it would have sports facts from that day and birthdays. I remember between Christmas and New Year's, for whatever was in the water around then, 9 months prior, there's so many great athletes that have a birthday this week.
It's springtime in March.
I guess.
Hey, anyway,
you're a parent. I'll leave that to you. Well, that's awesome. No, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate everybody for checking in on the comments. Jimmy Football, Dean Hilt, even Alex White getting in here. We appreciate you watching, Alex, and we wish you some rest today. Alex White out sick today, and hopefully we're going to be back in this chair very, very soon tomorrow. Week 18 action in the NFL, Ryan. I won't be back until next Tuesday to break it down. I love the Week 18 matchups. Can't wait for some of these quarterback battles.
Yeah, we did want the viewers' thoughts on some of these Week 18 games. So the question was 1, 2, 3, which Week 18 game is a must-see? So involving the 2 games on Saturday, the Seahawks and 49ers. The Seahawks currently laying 1. Panthers and Buccaneers. Bucks currently laying 2.5. Or the Ravens and Steelers. The Steelers have gone up from the 3 now to 3.5. And our chat is most looking forward to the game that we were most looking forward to, the Seahawks and 49ers deciding where the NFC runs through.
70% of the vote was on that game. One of those votes from yours truly when we took the air. So, hey, I put my money where my mouth is on the bets. I put my votes where my money is on the comments, and you can too on our video. Again, subscribe. Sports by the Book. It's a race to 2,000 subscribers. You'll get a random bill out of Ryan's wallet when we get there. Jimmy Football says that he has to subscribe. Do it now, Jimmy. Do it now, everybody else. We really appreciate you tuning in. That's going to do it for us today from the South Point studio. Alex White, we know you're watching. We appreciate everything that you do, and get well soon. We'll get you back in this chair very soon. For Ann, Drew Dog, and Vince behind the curtain, and for my partner, Ryan McCormick, I'm Matt Everett saying thanks so much for tuning in. Back at it tomorrow, same time, same place, 10 o'clock here on the West Coast. It's Sports by the Book, live from the South Point studio.